Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to be making some fresh memes with Brock.
Donuts are great. Jelly-filled are my favorite. Nothing beats a jelly-filled donut.
That's right, we will be making Brock's dubbed version of a jelly-filled donut. And to do that, well, we need to make jelly. To making jelly is super easy. You simply add blueberries or a type of fruit with equal parts sugar and either a splash of lemon or lime juice, and you cook it on the stove on low. Now as you cook this mixture, it's going to start getting violent. It's going to start bubbling up and throwing things in your face. It's totally okay. It's not burning, just let the water evaporate out of it. You'll be left with this goopy mess when the bubbles start dying down and it becomes kind of shiny. Simply remove it from the stove and you're done. Now we're going to be adding all the flour and all of our dry ingredients to a bowl and start making, well, the donut itself. Now all the ingredients and amounts will be listed in the description below. I know someone in the comments going to go, well hey, those are actually onigiri, Japanese rice balls, not donuts. Well, I know that, but we're going to make donuts that look like onigiri. Next up, you're going to need eggs, and these eggs are special because they're chicken eggs, but they also have poop on them. To get a really full-bodied flavored donut, you need eggs with poop on them. Make sure to get those. Now, sometimes you need to channel your inner Gordon Ramsay and crack eggs with one hand, even if you do it as sloppily as possible. Look how dramatic it looks. Butter! Now melt that shit down in the microwave, and boom. Add your melted butter on top of Mount Flour next to Yolk Lake and make sure you don't touch it because it'll be hot. Add some cow boob juice in the same cup you melted the butter in because you don't want to wash dishes. And pour it inside of your mixture as well. After that, you can start combining your mixture with a whisk. You do it with a whisk because it creates an absolute mess and gets stuck inside the wires. I highly recommend a rubber spatula instead, because otherwise you'll have to swap out later on. Now cast aside your rebellious attitude, wash the dish anyway, and put the rest of the remaining milk inside of it. What you want to do is you want to microwave the milk until it feels like bath water, so it's nice and warm. Because now we're going to add the yeast. These are going to be our millions of little farty Pokemon that end up by farting in our dough and making it nice and fluffy. By the way, here's some nutmeg. Ooh, add it to the mixture. Now your dough is going to start forming a shaggy dough. Make sure to walk away for dramatic effect to add more flavor and start combining the dough together. When you feel like your dough has come together to a more solid mass, put it onto a cutting board or whatever you got and start kneading it until it becomes a nice, soft, supple dough. After you're done kneading, you want to leave your dough in a place where it can rise. You want that yeast to start farting up all those gases inside your bread to make it nice and fluffy. After it's done rising for a while, you want to put it out onto a rolling board and start rolling it with a rolling pin or whatever else you got. You want to make it into a square, or as close as of a square you can get to. Next, you want to start punching out circles, either with a cookie cutter, or I'm using the top to a mason jar thingy. Now, onigiri in real life are the combination, the love child, per se, of a triangle and a circle. I highly recommend looking at what one looks like to be able to get the shape that we're going for. They kind of look like this. Rounded, triangle, circle thing. Now, you want to start heating up some canola oil in order to fry these donuts. You know when it's done because you can throw in a bit of dough, it'll start floating to the top and it'll start, well, cooking with lots of little bubbles. Now as your oil's heating up, we're going to make the ganache for the donut. We're going to make a chocolate ganache to represent the nori, or the seaweed wrapper, that wraps around the bottom of the onigiri rice ball. Here I'm just breaking up some high quality dark chocolate and milk chocolate into a bowl, and then we're going to pour over some heavy cream and keep mixing it. Now don't worry, at first it's going to look chunky and gross and liquidy and it just doesn't seem like it's going to come together, but let the cream do its job, let it heat up the chocolate, and then finally you'll be rewarded with a nice thick ganache. Back to frying our donuts, we're going to drop in our onigiri shaped donut and start, well, frying them off. Now there's two ways you can fry them. You can fry them on a slightly higher temperature to brown them and have a crispier outside and a softer inside, or if you want a soft donut, fry them on a lower temperature. Now for me, the only information I can really give you is with an electric stove. If you want them to be softer, cook them on a 2, and if you want to be a crispier, cook them on a 3. Now you want to make sure you do some test donuts because sometimes the insides won't be cooked properly until you kind of figure out the temperature that works best for you. And you can either make your donuts thinner to cook faster, or you can make them fatter and cook them a little bit longer, but they'll be crispier. You really gotta find the sweet spot on how you want to make your donut. When it's done to your liking, make sure to put it on some paper towels in order to drain off the excess oil and bring it over to your onigiri making station. Now some of you might have been like, whoa, onigiri making station, what the heck is going on here? Well, if you melt down some butter and some cow boob juice, Add yourself some powdered sugar. You can make yourself a delicious icing to add to your donuts and to put in your onigiri making station. However, before we glaze our donuts, I completely forgot these are jelly donuts, Brock's jelly donuts. So we're going to take the jelly/jam that we made earlier and we're going to poke it into our actual donut. Now it doesn't matter where you put it in. You can either poke it in the top, the bottom, the side, wherever. Put it either into a piping bag or put it into a squeeze bottle and simply fill up your delicious jelly donuts. Now we can frickin' glaze these suckers. Throw these guys into the glaze and then we're gonna throw them into a bowl of puffed rice, also known as Rice Krispies. Now this step makes an absolute mess, like an absolute mess. So be prepared to put it on somewhere where the excess Rice Krispies can fall off besides your actual countertop so you don't get in trouble and or have to clean up a bunch of crap. Press down the Rice Krispies to make sure they really stick to the glaze in the donut and put them someplace to dry. Now finally we're going to add our Nori Outline. Simply draw a square at the bottom of the donut with your chocolate ganache, making sure to block the camera because for some reason I do this all the time and you'd think I'd learn a lesson, but you're done. Fresh out of the hot meme fryer, you have yourself Brock's Jelly Donuts. Is it official? Was Brock in the dub finally correct? Did he actually make Ash some jelly donuts instead of some onigiri? We will never ever know. However, we will try these suckers and give them our honest opinion on Brock's jelly donut. Can a donut covered in rice really be that good? Well, we'll find out. Now I'm going to try this recipe for the first time after just completely making it up. Taking my first bite, I'm not shocked to see that there's actually no jelly in this bite, because I made some without it. I'm not a huge fan of jelly donuts, sue me. However, this donut is absolutely divine. The combination of textures between the fluffy donut and the crunchy rice, the contrast in flavors between the bittersweet chocolate and that super sweet buttery glaze makes this for a delicious bite. I highly recommend making this recipe and easily give it a 4.5 star out of 5. So Brock from the dub was right. These donuts are absolutely fantastic, and I highly recommend you guys make them. If there's any anime food that you want to see be made, make sure to leave a comment below and tell me what it is. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I try to put a video out every single week, either based on food, anime, or Japan, or the combination of all of those. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys in a future episode.